Hello people, and welcome to part 31 of Noveria, our vanilla Cities Skylines snow build. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And thank you for all the support on Sunday's stream, and indeed on Tuesday's recap episode. We built a little government department here, a little collection of government themed buildings complete with a toll booth. Thank you to the suggestion of Joy Plays Cities for this one, right? Absolutely threw a spanner in the works with this toll booth after we'd already set the road network up. And some little repeated European themes. These are actually high density residentials, 3x2s, but when we get them into a repeated pattern, they have a very kind of government-esque vibe about them. And also introduced some liberal arts assets as well, including the School of Education, which works really nicely here. And of course, a government snowman coven. Something of an important meeting taking place in Noveria. So thank you for all the support on the streams. It's always nice to hang out with you guys. And Noveria is certainly coming on, isn't it? It's really kind of picking up speed now. We've got our cargo harboring, a larger interchange. And to be honest, I don't think we're really that far from done. And there is the airports to build in this space, the ore mine. I want to do something on the mountaintops over here, as well as some kind of maybe top secret research facility. What's this tiny little light in the woods? Oh, it's a fire tower. I don't remember placing that. And today's outer-lying extreme rural build down in the Alusk Valley, which will be today's episode, okay? So let's have a little chat about what we're going to do. So we've got several networks that are ready to be expanded out into this area, including this 2-lane, this 2-lane right here, and there's rail already here that we're going to bring in. And then we're also going to bring another road out of this highway intersection and then follow the topography of the landscape all the way around here as we slowly meander down to this build over here. So of course I love building rurally, and this will be Overtheria, which has been aptly named by you guys, of course. So let's see what we can do. Let's build Noveria's third rural town. So we're going to start out today by just bringing through some of these initial networks. Of course, we want to make sure we're using the 2-way. Let's go into our straight road 2 as we approach the rail. Okay. And we can even discuss some lighter detailing palettes already so early in the episode, okay? So let's bring in some nature reserve fence on that freeform tool and just give them the slightest little bend in the middle. Doesn't have to be anything fancy here, right? We're very much playing with rural vibes, and even though this is such a small micro piece of detailing, every little bit of detailing is important. Doesn't matter how big or how small, it counts, and it's important, just like you. Let's bring through some overgrowth on the opposite side of these fences. Some taller trees as well. Some conifers. And perhaps some happy little rocks either side as well. So with just a few props, we can bring a lot more personality into one of these little rail crossings, okay? I think I'm going to be fairly happy with that. Very nice. Let's carry on. Okay, so I feel like this is going to be a good place to start the town. We've cleared out the area using the forest brush, but there's something I want to do with the terraforming first. So during the testing of this build in our Discord server, which is linked down below if you aren't in there, do come and say hello and hang out. We came up with the idea of perhaps doing a little island here and filling it with some industry. So a tiny little industrial island. I still haven't turned on unlimited soil. I will one day, I promise. Okay, so let's just let this flow out. Now we've got the main channel outs come through the larger brush size. Take a lot more of this out, okay? Now let's see how we're doing here. So we might want to grab a height that's slightly lower. And that should be okay. So just a spot where the river splits away from its main course. So I think that just adds a little more personality into the river, right? kind of flows around this channel now, and there's some pretty exciting things we can do with this island over here now, okay? So because of what I want to do with some of the walkable seawall keys on this island, it's important that the top level where we place our assets is all at the same height. So we'll stick to the general shape, but we just want to straighten off these bankings back into the river a little bit. The level terrain, always our best friend, right? I think we all go quite far back with level terrain at this point in the game. And that's going to be quite nice. So now let's draw in our first road on the island, and we're going to use some industrial road for this. I'm just going to eye this up to be as straight through the middle as possible. Now there's something I want to do with the 2-lane American Truss Bridge, because we haven't really used this yet, and I think there's an aesthetic that I'm quite keen on generating. So we're going to come up by 3 inclines, alright? And we're going to come off that road guideline and follow our road length instead. And then we're going to use this to connect back onto, I guess, what you would call the mainland, right? So we'll pause our game. We want to make sure that we're remaining as level as possible, of course. And then we'll come back onto the mainland. And this will be fine. And then we'll do the same over here again as well. There we go. Everyone's nice and happy. And then at this point, I'm probably going to want to do another highway intersection here. So we'll prepare that landmass now. I'll probably do a simple roundabout one at this point. So we'll prepare these landmasses for that to happen at some point today. And then out here a little bit too. And then we can just slope all of this out so it doesn't look quite as unnatural. That's not going to be too bad. So we'll carry on working on this industrial island first of all before we introduce any kind of major town centre assets, because I think this is really going to be the appealing kind of aspect of this build today. So let's come on to our seawall keys, and we want to snap to the road length, not to the road guideline. Then we'll bring this out there, and then we'll let it flow this side too. So we'll have this in, and then of course just terraform using our slope terrain tool to get rid of that dirt that mounds up on the side of the key. And then just periodically along this key, I want to come back and actually upgrade to the ones with stairs. Now they're not going to get vast amounts of use, but it's very much an aesthetic that I want to generate here. With these little stairs on the keys and the American Truss Bridge that flows over. I think we can do something quite nice and quite special with this design in today's episode. So I think I'm happy with that, alright? So let's go ahead and get the rest of the keys in. Okay, so I'm happy with the shape of the island now, and the placement of these stairs, and we've got our bridge flowing over too. So everyone's going to be happy. So let's start bringing through some initial holding infrastructure for our industrial roads, and alongside some regular industrial zoning today, we're also going to include some industrial assets. So I think we're going to bring in a power plant over this side. I think probably geothermal power is going to be my choice here. And we're pretty much going to need some heating soon as well. So I think it would be a sensible idea to try and bring in a heating plant into this build as well today. So why don't we box off our geothermal. And then we can place this here. This is going to sit right against the key as well, which will be nice. And we'll probably have a couple of entrance points for this today as well. I might bring one out at this side. So why don't we prepare for that? Let's come as close to that pillar as we can go. That's going to be fine. And then we'll come out here, and then we'll come out by 10. And then we'll come up by 2. And then just like this. industrial bridge crossover by 30 tiles. So again, before we start placing any major road networks where the bulk of the town will lie, we'll start bringing up our landmass. To allow these bridges to land a little more realistically. And I don't think we're going to key this side of the river either, we will leave it natural. Okay, and then bring it up here. Up into this side. Oh, this bit can stay fairly rough, doesn't have to be totally flat, just so we have kind of a nice base to work with here, okay? Very nice. So let's start mapping out some of the town centre roads now. Let's come onto that road guideline. And I know that I'm going to want to align centrally with this 2-lane American truss. So let's do that and bring in that first connection that we prepared. Up this side. Just allow this to flow. We'll get a nice smooth approach into the town. We'll connect here, and then from this point I'll probably allow perhaps a 2-lane road with trees to run out parallel from this with no road guideline though. Just snaps that 90-degree angle. And then we can probably prepare a train station to sit here too. So which one do we want to go for? I think possibly this one. So let's bring out a road that we can snap this onto. That's where we want to be. And then we'll grab those train lines. And then Noveria's constantly increasing rail network will now expand out this way. Okay. It's going to be a nice time. Let's get some trains flowing here. So we'll come from this way, and we have a train platform over here, which is not yet in use. So why don't we pop into the middle stop? And then we'll bring this back down over here now. Very nice. Okay. So with this asset here, I want to do a little road upgrade trick that's handy for placing certain buildings. So we're going to draw out some initial holding roads, and then I know that I want the Christmas tree unique to be something of a town centre asset for this town, alright? So we're going to place that there, and then we're going to box this off again with 4-lane arterial, which looks a little strange, but what we're going to do is then come into a one-way network, and we're going to grab perhaps one-way road with grass. And I'm just going to upgrade all the buildings here, alright? But there's one thing we want to do first. We want to actually keep this back one as 4-lane, and then switch it around, because once we upgrade this, it won't actually read connected on the T-junction. But there's a little trick we can do just by flipping it around and then upgrading. And then this gives us some very nice asset opportunities, some really nice opportunities for placement and green city zoning, even some of the modern city centre zoning around here. We'll do some interesting things with some new assets today. Everyone's going to be happy, I think. Okay, so let's bring this down. We'll upgrade this into tree road. And then we'll switch into dirt road for probably 10 tiles. And then we'll move down into dirt. Because, you know, clearly a rural part of the town this, or the map rather. So we'll make sure that we use some dirt roads in today's build as well. We can have some riverfront houses here as well. So there's another unique building I want to use, which is the ice fishing pond. I think we're going to place this opposite our train station. It's quite a nice introductory asset. It's got a really nice entrance on it. It has some cute fences and some happier conifers and beaches in there as well. So it's a nice asset. I think it's going to complement what is essentially a little bit of a main street here outside the train station, okay? Very nice. So let's bring that 2-lane American truss towards the town centre now, and we'll get something of a smooth gradual decline. And then of course some of our favourite kind of town centre assets, asset orientation is always going to help us decorate. So we'll bring in a med clinic. Of course a post office is always a good shout for a detailing up a corner. It's a very nice kind of cornered asset here. Just going to decorate the side of the street. And then we'll start letting some lighter commercial grow up in this part of town as well. And also not forgetting to continually expand the roads out of it so people can come and go. And we'll want to prepare a connection for this industrial road to now descend back down towards the earth as well. So it's come out by 10. And then we can connect in there. Okay. So we're already starting to see some nicer town features come together. Have a look at some death care for these guys. So why don't we come onto our road guideline and we'll prepare an initial holding road. It won't be industrial there. We'll change this probably to road with trees. And then let's grab a couple of cemeteries. Would make sense here to use some kind of renewable, non-fillable death care. However, I do want the aesthetic of the cemetery stone walls and the cemetery churches, so we're going to go with a couple of cemeteries down this end. Okay. And then that's exactly what I want. I think I actually want to downgrade the road into just one with grass, just so we can see those stone walls on the drive into town. Let's zone up with some industrial over here now, start to hopefully see this industrial island take on its shape a little bit more. Again, we'll do some zone-ins out this side. Okay. We do have the smallest little bit of industrial demand in Noveria at the moment, so we should be able to satisfy some of that demand with this industrial zone in today. Okay, and then we'll let that fill up. And we've now got our district set up as well for Overtheria. And then let's just help sync the power through with a small park. And everyone should be okay here now. Of course, lots of opportunities to continually link people through. And start to flesh out with some smaller commercial zonings along this main street now, okay? Very nice. So in terms of the residential zoning, I want quite small assets now. I might sweep through with plot the growables during our detailing tile maps today and place in a lot of the university city assets because they're going to be very much the vibe and the aesthetic that I'm after here today. But relatively small and thin zonings is what I'm looking to generate here. So this is what I'm after. So some 2x4s, perhaps some 3x3s as well. I want to try to stay away from those chunkier 4x4 shapes because they tend to hold the large, more impressive assets, but we'll just start to introduce some smaller residential patterns. Maybe bring some dirt roads out here as well. It's going to be fairly sparsely populated here in Overtheria. We are very much away from the big city folk here, right? We have a real distant view to that long crawling skyline now. Nice to see it from this angle, to be fair. But it's a long way away, okay? A long, long way away. Let's grab some education facilities as well. I think we'll go for the little European elementary. And we're also going to want some police and fire, of course. And I think we might take up this space here. Yes, I think we will. I think we'll put our police station there. And then we'll also grab a little fire station. Now this would be better placed on the industrial island. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll place it here. And of course, even though the walkable seawall keys won't get much use here, it's going to be still aesthetically appropriate to bring in some vanilla walking path to allow people to move back and forth. Okay, but this is very much the aesthetic I'm after, right? These kind of chimney stacks up and against this kind of green 2-lane American truss. I'm very much a fan of that. I think it's a nice way we can use this asset for the first time on the channel as well. So I'm going to cut a little hole across the town centre, okay? And then draw in a new district, because we're going to do a few special things here that I talked about earlier. We're going to make this modern city centre, and we're also going to give it organic and local produce. Then for the modern city centre stuff, we want a zone high density commercial, and then green cities low density. Now there's a possibility for plop the growables, but there is some little kiosk looking stands that we can surround the Christmas tree with, so it still will actually remain connected, and we'll hopefully get some natural generation in here without having to use plop the growables, but we'll see what occurs. So see, there's some green city stuff here. We don't want this district that far out. We want to make sure that it's very much hugged just on that town centre design, not around the edge of these commercials here. Okay. So let's tidy up our district. Very, very small one. And we'll name this little park after one of our wonderful Patreon subscribers as well. So we're going to name this after our wonderful Patreon subscriber, Joshua T, but I think we're going to call it into Joshua T Tree, because obviously it's a tree. So thank you so much for your support, Josh. Absolutely love you, mate. Really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your little tree square. Okay. Okay, so this is an interesting observation here. It looks as though the green city's specialization will override a district theme because we're getting green cities assets in the high density theme. So we use plop the growables to talk about this. Okay, so let's go into high density commercial, and then we'll search for our modern city centre stuff. So there's a couple of little 1x1 kiosk looking assets that I want to include around here. Okay, so we're going to place a few of these manually, and then we're going to come into green cities and start playing with some of these little market stall things. All right, let's see what we can possibly squeeze in. Looks like we can get a little bit of symmetrical entrance action here. I think I'm fairly happy with that. And then we can just surround our Christmas tree asset with some other similar looking assets, so it's just giving kind of layers of depth, almost generating back streets within back streets, right? And you can do this with any kind of square looking asset, you know, using that upgrade trick with the roads to leave that tile of space around the edge of it, so it still remains connected, but you get that extra zoning capacity too. It's possibilities, I think, isn't it? It is possibilities. We're starting to see some people arrive now. Hopefully they are using the public transport. Yes, here we go. A few people now. Always good to see. A lot of folks heading for the ice fishing pond by the looks of it too. Very nice. We definitely want some more parks around here because there's no one moving in yet. So why don't we grab a dog park to sit on the corner. Maybe a snow park as well. Perhaps a little snowman park. That's going to work nicely. Let's plop that in there. And maybe I feel like a cross-country skiing park might work nicely down here. Maybe a sledding hill. Just some stuff to tie in with that ice fishing pond. Create a little bit of a town and entertainment district, okay? There you go, so, oh dear, no. Yeah, you are way out of the vibe. Asset selection, very important today. So these worker demands should start clearing up now. There we go, starting to pop away as these little houses start to come in. Awful, go away. It's too much. Really important asset selection. Okay, but because we've introduced industrial traffic into this area, so even though it's only a small amount, it's important that they have direct highway access, because otherwise they have to head all the way down here and then back to this service interchange over by the fishing harbour. So we'll definitely want to give them another connection this side. So let's come into our highway roads, and we're going to grab the one-way, two-lane highway, and we want to snap to road length and road guideline as well. So we want to elevate here and then come straight across. That's going to be wonderful. We're then going to grab our curve tool and we're going to curve by 5. And then repeat that on this side as well. Match them with that guideline. Come straight back across. And then 5 on this side as well. If you are snapping to other road guidelines, then do just turn off that snap point. This is a very common highway intersection that we see in the UK, kind of an elevated roundabout that comes over the motorways. So I'll grab this slope tool now and prepare our ramps to come up. So we will initially place in just some regular road, but we'll then upgrade this into two-way highway. Okay. And then likewise, again, with these roads here, we're going to come onto these pillars and then I'll say prepare our slopes first of all. That would be handy. So I want to slope up to this top point, and then the same again on this side. So these will just allow our slip lanes to come up a little easier, a little smoother. And then we just want to bear in mind those measurements. So we'll come out by 10, and then we'll allow them to come down to earth. And then we'll come onto our highway roads, allow them to hook in. And then just upgrade them and switch them back. So we'll get this hooked in on all sides. And then just to connect this in, exactly like we did earlier, might want to terraform this landmass out again, just a touch so we can make sure the bridges are as smooth as possible. There we go. And then we'll grab a regular road to come off, bring it almost immediately back down to the ground. And then we'll probably make this industrial road, I imagine. And then we'll grab a little freeform and connect into our bridge over there. Okay, so it could be a nice idea to... I think we will. I think we're going to shatter the quay from this point and then allow another industrial road to come out. Then we're going to slope down this terrain here. Okay, that should be fine. Let's level out here as well. Bring this in. And then come back down to earth as we arrive at this point. And then just get a little immediate island access for the little industrial island. They can get straight back onto the highway. Get a little bit of garbage accumulation here too, so let's give them a smaller recycling centre. That should help with that problem. We've got some residentials coming in now. So again, yeah, it's very much these, right? So this is such a shame about the University Content Creator Pack that we can't specialise an area to just get these in. In the vanilla game anyway, you can use Themes Manager, but you know, these assets we don't want, it's these that we're after, kind of the rundown, more rural looking ones. So we'll get the initial population spike in with zoning today, but I probably will refine with plop the growables as we come towards detailing. So let's continue to work on the expansion of the road network. We'll come into our terrain tool, and then we're going to start bringing this around on a freeform, and we'll maybe come a little bit further up the mountain than that. Let's come back onto that terrain height again. So get a long sweeping curve, and then I'm really looking to follow the contour lines all the way around the ridge here, okay? Trying to stay within that same height around the edge of the mountain, which will give us a real nice kind of country drive vibe as we come through here. Of course, plenty of detail and opportunities with nature reserve fencing. Keep bringing it around. If we move out too far, just move back a little bit. There we go, that's what we're after. And then we'll come down the mountain and again prepare an entrance point into this interchange. So this is the central alignment here, isn't it? So it's this node we want to come out of. Let's grab that highway again. And then we will connect in, probably with a curve. There we go. And then upgrade this one as well. So the whole point of doing this is to, you know, create that feeling of distance, especially when you're with the 821 tiles, having these longer national roads that head out to further away towns really gives us that feeling of distance. That's literally what it is, you know, it's creating that, you know, so I've got to drive out to Overtheria today, it's miles away, it takes a while to get there. So I think these longer extended national roads will certainly help with that aesthetic, and we can see now a lot of the industrial traffic choosing to take that little bridge to get back on the highway. That's exactly what we want to see. And there's some folks exiting the highway as well to take our little 2-lane American Trust Bridge back across. There he goes. Some nice happy bridges today, I think, isn't there? Right. Let's bring in some rock assets to complement the back end of this island now. Kind of clump all the larger ones and allow the smaller ones to sit near the water. That should be okay. Nothing serious. There we go. Now maybe a couple of the kind of exposed rock decals to sit on this side as well. Okay. Not a touch of abandonment. Looks like those worker demands are slowly clearing up now though. But there we go. Nice way of satisfying some of that smaller industrial demand with a little terraformed and keyed industrial island to sit in the river. So I think I'm happy with that. Got some problems in the city. Is everyone okay? What's going on over here? A little bit of death care and garbage collection issues. I think otherwise we're okay though. So we do have one more connection available down this way, so we'll bring this in as well. So why don't we shatter a little bit of the road network and grab ourselves a one-way road, and we'll create a roundabout here. I think we'll come for a 5 roundabout again. They tend to be a fairly nice size. And then we'll hook this back in as well. Allow another train crossing out this side. And then just let this meander on its freeform to hook back into that national road. That's going to be another connection for everyone involved. And we'll probably upgrade this into high speed as well to keep everyone flowing out this way. So again, we do have Metro that is available, but I don't want Metro rurally, so we're not going to bring this out anymore, I don't think. I think we might just end this Metro line in the university campus, because we also have train too, so I'll bring the train line out instead. We don't need Metro and train to come and service a town this small. That's very much public transport overkill. So again, it's all just about leaving enough room between the train junctions here. And then we can let this one come down. And then probably hook into here. And then this also allows me now to extend this line out. And probably don't want intercity trains turning up here, I think. Yeah, I probably don't want tourists arriving here. So we'll turn that off and just allow it to be served by our intercity train network. Okay. But otherwise, everyone's happy. Let's continue to decorate up our main street and continue to keep everyone walking around the town. It's going to be nice to have some residentials sat on the initial entry into this point too. So let's grab some of those kind of smaller zonings. And of course some detailing pallets for our national road. Farm fence always works tremendously well. It's coming from this point. I think maybe with a touch of repeated bush spice too. Not massively symmetrical. Now you can't imagine that the Noverian City Council particularly sends out groundsmen to landscape this area. It's very much just kind of left to its own natural devices. And I think a touch of oil industry fence. Maybe even nature reserve. Yeah, let's go for nature reserve. Just align the railway, which at the same time is just going to continue to help frame this national road that runs into town here, okay? So we'll start seeing a little vibe develop already in Overtheria, okay? But it's not bad. It's not bad. See if anyone's using our little country road take me home. Yes, there we go. See where they're going. You're driving out of the city. And you're driving out of the city. So interesting that they are choosing to take the scenic route, because they'll be coming from this side here. You would think it's faster for them to get back on the interchange and get back onto the main highway, but maybe it's the toll booth that's putting them off. Maybe they'll prefer that road now so they don't have to pay the toll. Which would make sense, you know, because you do toll the faster roads in real life, so if they want to take the mountain road back out, then they can do. And again, we can bring in lots of nice detailing palettes in for this area here, bringing in some little nature reserve fencing with just splashes of that bush palette. Maybe a little tree or two. Nothing massively serious, and as we generate the nighttime view over to that very distant skyline now, we can just see this theme develop alongside the mountain, right? Very nice drive into Noveria from here. See everything all coming together. How tall that radio mast is too there. Pretty big. Okay. Not too bad. However, guys, that does feel like a good place for a detailing talent. So we've got the bulk of our structure in now. It's all just about now continually spanning out some dirt road networks off of this main tarmac road, sticking to our very small residential zonings. We need to bring in the natural conifer forest that we've removed, again, so this thing sits in a little more naturally. And bring in some, again, more continued national road detailing right back into town, all the way back to where we started. And likewise on the mountain road as well, continue to generate kind of this theme and aesthetic with the fractured nature reserve fencing. And detail up our little intersection too. Probably bring some rocks around here. Sort out the terraforming a little bit. And then all our other little favourite detailing bits and pieces. But otherwise, let's detail it up and we will be right back. Hey guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares below really help me out. And if you'd really like to support the channel, there are various ways you can do so down below, including a really cheap gaming code referral link to Instant Gaming and Patreon if you so wish. And as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Really happy with this, a nice blend of European suburbia and university city to create the suburbs, and a really nice kind of mini town centre all formulated around the Joshua Tea Tree. Some nice public transport options with an internal train line here which is getting a fair amount of use now. And of course the industrial island looks really nice, especially with those little stairs on the quays. Quite happy with how that turned out. And a nice use of the 2-lane American Truss Bridge as well. It's nice to see that in the city. We haven't used it yet. So yeah, I really like the kind of green support beams that are on there. Really nice bridge. Do hang around for the rest of the outro tags. You guys certainly wouldn't have seen all the detailing and some extra terraforming as well, which you can see at the head of the river. But otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.